and she said, okay. And I broke out into tears. Once I realized she said okay, I cried for like a minute straight. Just about 1 year ago, I was the most depressed that I've ever been.
All right, welcome to another man's point of view. As you can see, we're gonna have a review slash clear example of what I've been talking about in uh, force-fed red pill. Now, this one's very telling. It has everything that is predictable, and it happens over and over again. So this is his take, and well, let's let him talk, and then I'll break it down here and there. I'll insert my stuff. So let's go ahead.
Been in my entire life, and that is because it was when my second girlfriend broke up with me. And today, I'm really going to get into the nitty gritty of it. I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you guys because I feel like you guys resonate a lot with when I am vulnerable, and I'm going to be telling you things that I haven't even told my
You must not be vulnerable with your girl. So there's that.
closest friends about what really happened when my second girlfriend broke up with me and how I took it and how I should have took it. This story is going to surprise you a lot, and I'm going to tell the
Not really. Not me, at least.
story through the 3 stages of a breakup that
3, no coincidence there.
I have identified. And this is going to apply to men, women, whether you're gay or straight, anybody. This is
Yes and no. Mostly men.
going to help you get through your breakup. And this is the video that I wish I had when I got broken up with. Time to expose myself on the internet once again. So here are the 3 stages of a breakup. Stage 1 is grievance. Stage 2 is acceptance, and stage 3
Acceptance is should have like a hashtag on. Well, not a hashtag. What's the little asterisk on the side? Because you can clearly see he still has not accepted it.
is metamorphosis. Let's go through these stages. So, stage 1, grievance. You are going to have to realize that you are going to be grieving a lot during this stage. It's almost impossible to ignore. And the reason I use this word is because it is like you lost a loved one in your family. You are going to feel this.
Yep.
I remember the few days or about the week after I got broken up with, I was actually pretty okay. I kind of accepted the fact. I even texted her afterwards and was like, hey, it didn't really end that well.
There you go. So insert big pile of pills. Bam. There you go. Force fed red pill. Now, as you can see, he claims he had accepted all this, right? Yet he still needs to text her, and that's where he effed up, basically snowballed from there.
When you did break up with me. So I just want to say I totally understand. It's okay that this happened.
See that he didn't have to say that or that. That basically said, yes, what you did was right. Yes, I took it in the ass. And yes, thank you. Can you serve me another? That's what he sent. However, he doesn't know this. Now let's see if he finds out later on in the video.
And it makes a lot of sense. But like all forms of grievance, you go through these different types of sub stages within the stage of grievance. So shortly after this, it was about the second week after my girlfriend had broken up with me, I started to feel what it felt like to not have her in my life anymore. And it was extremely painful, even though she wanted to remain friends after all this, and she said she didn't regret being in a relationship with me. It was still something I had to live with, the fact that I'm not going to be with this
Yeah.
girl anymore, and she's not a part of my life in that way anymore. And
What he really wants to say is, she is no longer mine. That's really what it is, right? You wanted, you wanted the most raw. This is it. All the other love gurus gonna give you this and that. It's just straight up ego. That's what it is. But of course, they're not gonna say that. But you'll hear it first here, right? It's because she's no longer his in his mind. Now she never was, but he believed it at some point.
that shattered my identity. I had an identity crisis. She felt like she was a part of me, and I felt like I was nothing without her, and this was so unhealthy.
And that's the reason she force fed a damn red pill right down his gullet. Because of that. That statement there, she knew that. And he knew that. And it was true. Right? Like I said, it's like without her, he is nothing. So there you go. If he ain't what I've been telling you all along that you have to be, then you can see where you end up. You ain't nowhere near being a real man. I mean, now it's that simple. I could end the video there, but for sake of obviously explaining it, right, and showing you the evidence, we're gonna continue.
I know I have to get this out there to really explain how you might feel and what's going on. So you're going to feel that absence, and that absence is going to bring a lot of pain, and you might even
Yep.
deny why this happened. You might deny that it should have happened. I remember.
Now the denial comes in the way you lost her, right? Because now he's saying, well, she just dumped him. Now notice she dumped him. That matters, right? There's a reason why she did it. Now, again, the denial part can escalate depending on how she did it, why she did it, right? And did she do it for someone else? That is the killer pill, right? The atomic bomb of pills. But anyways, let's continue. That's like overdosing basically on the pills, but you get the picture.
I was in complete denial, even though leading up to the breakup, the few months before that, we definitely weren't the same that we used to be. We did love each other a lot.
Now pause there. The whole we love each other is bullshit. Now this is the part where everybody gets wrong, right? It's the we loved each other. No. She never loved you. That's why you're sitting here doing the video on how she left your sorry ass, right? So the love part you must not just like, throw it out there. You should, as a man, you shouldn't be throwing that word out at all. In just your sheer defense for now. Now I'll explain why later, but for now, you have no reason throwing that word out. Trust me, it benefits you to never throw it out there or use it. Period. Right? Because it be used against you, basically. Right?
But our relationship just wasn't really the same. She was working more. I was getting more anxious about it, and I wanted to see
Classic.
her more, and I was focusing less on myself and my work. And I kept
Classic.
telling myself, this isn't right. We're meant to be together. And so
There you go. Now it's okay if you tell it to yourself. Right? We're meant to be. Don't ever, 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 ever say that to a woman. That is the fastest way you're gonna dry up her panties. Trust me. But obviously, logically, it makes sense, right? Like logically, you're like, well, if I tell her this because that's what you've been taught to believe, and you've been deceived that that's what you must believe, or actually try to achieve with a woman, right? Even though it's the complete opposite.
I started the fight that I just should not have done. The fight.
Oh yeah, notice you're gonna see. This is what I want you to catch. That's why I say, through the man's point of view, you'll notice all the mistakes are literally coming from him. Now, what's this? Of course, commercial. Now, I still haven't worked out all my stuff, as you can see. But hey, we're getting there, right? So let's continue. Let's just ignore that. Um,
Right, to try to get her back
all right.
by any sort of means because of how much I felt like I was nothing without her. We were still texting a little bit. I was trying to text her more than she was trying to text me, obviously. She needed a break from me.
Now, what did I say? That's a big one. I do have a whole segment. I'm gonna do a video on that, on how you're texting. Now, first of all, you shouldn't be texting your girl at all, other than "I'm here," right? Or "Are you where you at?" type thing. That's it. No good mornings, no goodbyes, no how you been, how's your day, none of that shit. But I'll do that video later. Also, you must also see. You can see where you're at basically by your text messages. Straight up, like you just see. You don't even have to read them. You could just see where you're at right, in the relationship, depending on your text, and I'll show you how in later videos. So let's continue.
At the very least. And I remember I actually met up with her one time. It was, I think, a few weeks after our breakup, and I kind of just came clean to her. I was like crying my eyes out, telling her, listen, I get why.
There you go. Went in, showed her, here's my injuries. Now I'm bleeding everywhere. I'm damn near on life support. That's what she saw. So tell me this. Now, this is just a quick example for all of you out there, right? I don't want you to get bored. So do this exercise, right? Which is like, if you were her, right? Just a quick hypothetical. If you were her and you see this guy in life support and you already broke up with him, why the hell would you go back and try to be with this guy who clearly there's nothing you can do? He's in life support. You got two options. Right? You walk out the door and never look back, or you help his ass by disconnecting the life support. But but there you go, right? Quick exercise for you. Let's continue.
Why we broke up. And I understand that you want time away from me to think about this, but I do.
That's the worst you can do, right there. Once again, all these mistakes, every single one of those red pills, right, that you see on there, he took them all by himself. Now, I'm not saying the red pill is the actual problem, but every time you do this, you're taking a red pill. Now, it's not hitting you till later, but understand you did it to yourself. What the message was, right? I understand why you did it. So why the hell are you having the conversation with her in the first place? Because what you're telling her is that you understand, yet you're still bitching and moaning and crying of what she did. So you can't have it both ways. You seem to, guys enter this sort of like, I call it, again, the force fed red pill, which is a sickness, right? Where you think you're in love, but you're not, right? So it's like, kind of like, I guess I could say the word now, right? Like the COVID, right? You get sick and all sorts of symptoms, and this is it. This is one of them, right? Yet, understand, like, I logically, it makes no sense. Yet in your head at that time, it does, which is completely weird, right? But the only way it's ludicrous, right? So, like, yeah, and here's the example, right?
Believe that we're meant to be together, and I just really want you to give me a second chance, and basically begged her, but it gets worse as
Yep,
I'm going to go through this
it always
story.
gets
And so
worse.
she said she didn't know yet. We shouldn't have been hanging out regardless or even talking to each other.
Believe it or not, she gave him a second chance with hanging out with him, right? Because they always come back, right? Like I said, right? Women jump ship. Understand that. Now the reason she came back is maybe because the ship didn't just sink just yet. It took on water. Looks like predictably it's gonna sink. She comes back on board to see, well, how's this doing? She comes back to check, and clearly nothing you can do for the boat. That's basically what happened right there. Of course, he didn't see it, right? And it gets worse, like he said, it always does.
Each other during this time, only a few weeks after we just broke up. But I was just so in denial, and every single night pretty much I would cry to myself. I would cry over what I had lost. I would just
Think about that. You're a grown man sitting at home crying, right? You're crying. So you can see at the level, and some guys take it to all sorts of levels, right? We've seen it time and time again, depending on the guy, because some guys, right, are physically strong. They just are, but not emotionally. So put this guy's emotions, into basically a Terminator, and what do you get? Do the math there for you.
just think of all the memories that I had with her. The pain is going to be inevitable, especially if you are attached to this person, but you need to not try to be friends with them or contact them for a very long time after your breakup. What I really suggest that you do is allow yourself to feel that pain. I tried to reject it so much by, trying to hang out with people, and that helped a little bit, but I just
Just
tried
make this
any
bigger.
tactic I could to not feel the pain that I was feeling. And I think it's really important that you do allow yourself to feel that, to get a grip on what you're going through.
Here's a common mistake. The allow yourself to feel meaning means that you had some sort of control. You didn't. If you can allow yourself to feel, you would be a master at this, and you wouldn't need this guy's video or mine. You would already know what to do. So clearly, it's a problem of you not being able to master just yourself, right? Emotionally. So understand what's actually going on. Again, if you can. Now, sadly, here's the thing, right? From what I've seen, right? You kind of have to go through the force-fed red pill to even start in trying to control, or even because you weren't aware that this could happen to you, right? That this could affect you, that emotions can destroy you, that what you're doing is wrong. None of this ever came across like you're ignorant, right? So this guy, this is after the fact. That's why you can do this video. That's why I call it the force-fed red pill. You didn't take it all by yourself. You forced somebody force-fed it. All right, that's the concept.
Or else you're never really going to be able to overcome it. And it's always going to be some sort of lasting trauma in you,
Most
even
never
if you
do.
think you're over them. Take this time to really understand the breakup and understand yourself and what you really need, which is not another person. This is something that I could not.
Exactly. You need to become, believe it or not, and here's the simple cure and answer. You need to become a real man. It's that simple. However, you were nowhere near that concept of becoming a real man, and most don't, right? They get stuck, like where he said, right? You get stuck there in denial. You don't overcome it. So you ain't even aware of the stuff that is actually going on, right? Where you actually stand in the man, actual, in the man, what is it, chart. You're not ranked, basically, right? So you obviously you don't compete. But I'm not saying you can't get there, right? This is why I do the videos, because you can, right? We all have that ability. It's just a matter of understanding exactly that that exists. Two, that's your goal, and three, that you want to do it, right?
Handle that I could not deal with, and it got to a really bad point. I started looking up so many videos on YouTube about how to get your girlfriend back, and all of them just flooded my recommended feed now. I was super into watching
Yep.
like the no contact rule videos where if you don't
No contact rule actually works if you know what you're doing. Now, sadly, the problem is when the red pill guys, right, or in this case, victims, right, land on the no contact rule, it actually does work, but because they don't know why it works or how it works, they just kind of follow the steps, right? Like because I've seen the videos, right? They say, what is it, like no contact rule for 30 weeks or whatever, and three or four, 5 weeks. So you follow the steps, and sure enough, it works, but clearly you don't know why, you don't know how, and you don't know what to do when it actually works. Because there's whole nother levels of shit that you have to do. And if it ain't legit, and here's the problem, if it ain't legit, it was just a tactic. That's why it fails in the end. But I will do a video on that later, right? Because I'm fascinated by all this shit because it's psychology, right? Straight up psychology. And once you master it to next level, you become sort of like super powered, right? You got powers, which is you can use for good and bad, right? But again, the message here is for good, not bad. Okay, let's continue.
contact your ex for like 30 to 90 days, then
There you
it'll
go.
be okay and she'll want to be back with you. And I swear to God, I watched one of these no contact videos every single day just to get some sort of reassurance that one day I would be back with this girl. And so it was a couple months now after we had broken up, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give it one more push, and if this doesn't.
We'll give you a spoiler alert on the no contact. This is one of the biggest reasons why the no contact rule works, and the reason I'm throwing this out there so you could understand everything that I'm talking about and how it makes sense and how it's legit. All right, the no contact rule works because what you're actually doing, and this is step one, is you're disappearing from the picture. Which means if she's here, right, and she already discarded your sorry ass, you're over here somewhere, she's up here now. Now she thinks she's better, right? But you're still moaning and grinding, right? You're over here tapping at her. She's like, man, let me be, right? And you're over here bitching and moaning, right? At some point, no contact means you stop. Now, she's doing her thing and she ain't doing this, right? Leave me alone because this ain't happening, right? That's why it works because now she notices that you ain't no longer there. But the biggest thing is it's so you don't fuck up, right? So if you eliminate yourself from this situation, you ain't doing this and therefore you ain't fucking up. Does that make sense? Meaning you can't mess up, doesn't give you the ability to mess up because you ain't there. Now she's thinking, okay, well, where is he at, right? So now curiosity kills the cat. That's where that comes from, right? Now she's curious, where the hell this guy die, right? I go, sure enough, you're moping and crying when she finds you. Then it doesn't work. So there you go. I kind of spoiled the no count, but that's why, right? Oh, there's all sorts of obviously way better way of explaining it, right? And showing you how it works, why it works, all of that. I could break it all down. I'm a master, right? Not at the no contact thing, but at all this, right? I just see it so clearly, right? So, anyways, let's continue.
Doesn't work, then that's it. I'm going to stop trying, and I'm finally gonna move on. 2 months after we had broken up, I just couldn't accept that fact. But I finally manned up and said I'm gonna do this. But I didn't even really man
Keyword.
up because I was going to ask her again, a second time to give me a second chance, and so we could get back together. So
All right, I want to spoil I haven't seen the rest of the video, but here's the same premise with the no contact, right? The reason you move or actually disappear from the picture is so you don't mess up, right? Now, what he is saying is that he's asking once again for a second chance. Just like the no contact, he's fucking up once again, right? What would be the only thing, and here's the spoiler alert, the only thing why he wouldn't be asking for a second chance would be because he's actually has another option. That's the cure. However, when you're in this situation, it's hard to have that second option because you're that weak, and the twos, just like your two, who is no longer yours, she sees it. All the other twos up here see it. That's why it becomes a little spiral where you go down and down and down, and no one is gonna touch you because you become this weak, right? You become weakness itself, right? So now, women, what did I say? If you've been paying attention to this space, neutral, women hate weakness. That's premise one. Right? Once you understand that, then you can basically cure literally everything because it's based on like a T Rex, right? Based on movement. Well, same thing. Women are based on hating weakness. So if you don't have none, she don't hate you. Right now we move from there, but let's continue.
it was her birthday. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get her a little present. I got her like Raycon
Why?
headphones, and I wrote her a very long letter of everything.
And these are all the predictable moves that all guys do. Now I'm gonna take this time to give you an example of any woman that I've ever had, right? That I've been successful with. I've been in their rooms. So let me give you the premise. You go to the room, their room, right? They always invite you in. And on the walls or anywhere, right, randomly, you'll find ancient gifts. I call them ancient discoveries, right? Like, right, like dig sites and shit. Like. So, anyways, the point is, on the corner somewhere, you'll find all the ancient and all gifts she's ever gotten. Now, here's the key, and this is a freebie for all of you. I've been successful with the ones where I didn't add to the gifts, believe it or not. So you got to decipher that all on your own because that's the way you learn. I can decipher it for you, but understand why. Why was I successful? And I'm going to give you the reason, right? But you got to understand, right, in your own mind, decipher why it is that I was the one that was successful, because I didn't give the gift. I didn't add to the ancient gifts. Put it that way, right? I didn't add to the wall. So decipher that at home. That's a freebie. But there you go, right? That opens up. This ain't. So that goes to show you, I'm not just talking out of my ass. I'm giving you actual knowledge and techniques and stuff you can see in the real world. You could test it all on your own and come back and tell me if I'm not right. But let's continue.
Thing I had done wrong. And in the end of the letter, I say, I understand if you don't want to be with me right now, but I do believe we're meant to be together. Like the same things that I said to her the first time we met
Yeah.
up. And yeah, I ended it with like, P.S. I'll never forget all the times we had, like all stuff like that. I was fighting so hard to get her back. All
That last thing is basically go do your thing, and I'll sit here and wait for your ass. Once you're done with all the chads, right? Because guys love to throw the chat out there. Once you're done with the chads, I'll be here for you, ready, pristine, and ready to go with anything that you come back with. Right? That's what you basically told her. And that's why it never works. And that's why these guys never recover. Because they became a bitch. Right? Instead of becoming what I said, the cure is to become a real man. Right? But let's continue once again.
all things that you should absolutely not do after your breakup. And so I met up with her, I gave her the note, and I gave her her little gift, and I talked to her again. I said, I understand the things that I did wrong, but please, I want you to give me a second chance. Please give me a second chance. And she said, okay. And I broke out into tears. Once I realized she said okay, I cried for like a minute straight, and I thought that, well, this is it. I'm gonna be back with her again.
Oh, that's the. I guarantee it's a shit test. Right. Let's see.
And one day, I mean, we all know how that turned out. A few weeks passed by, and I ended up meeting with a girl who I met on Tinder, who is now my friend, and I kind of just opened
Hmm.
up to her about what I had been going through, and now she's like a really good friend. She helped me a lot with this. She said, dude, she doesn't actually know if she wants to be with you again. She just said that in the moment because
You heard that? Now, of course, he doesn't give you the context, but what the hell is he doing meeting up with the girl he met on Tinder, right? While he supposedly is crying at home over this girl. But, anyways, let's forget about that. Just what she said, right? Remember, only a girl understands what girls actually are, which is why, or how they work, which is why he said what, which is why she said the key words to him. It was just straight up, dude. When she said that, is because she is not ready, or what was the exact word? She doesn't know exactly where to go. That proves that she's a two, meaning she could say it, but still doesn't know. She hasn't made the decision yet, basically, right? And the relevant, or a bigger point is that she could have said whatever. Doesn't matter. She meant it maybe at that moment, but it could change tomorrow or the next day. It could go right back to where you were before. Once you understand this, then you know how to counter, attack, and all that. That's why we say it's chess, not checkers. But again, I could go on, but I don't want to make this video too long, so let's continue.
of what you've been saying and what you've been doing, she doesn't actually know if it is going to end that way. So you need to actually just stop contacting her. You need to actually just stop trying to pursue this.
Oh, check this out. Here's the thing, right? If you're gonna learn anything from this video, is yes, she doesn't know where this is gonna end because spoiler alert, it ain't up to her. That's the biggest thing that you must learn, but also is the hardest. That's the hardest thing that guys learn, and that's the thing. That's what makes that separates the boys from the men. Right? All the boys and guys are down here. Men understand what I just said. It's not up to her. Now, I could just spoil it for you right now and tell you who it is up to, but I want you to decipher all on your own at home. All right. So there you go. That's the biggest thing, or at least one of the biggest. But I would say take it from me that it is that simple. Um, and then kind of the concepts connected to that. But let's continue. Let's continue.
because you're the one putting in all the effort and you need to tell her all this. And I was like, all right, you're right. It wasn't right for her to say okay to wanting to be with me again one day, even though she doesn't even know that. And so I sent her the next day a long text about this. And long story short, she got mad and we haven't talked since. So,
Well, long and behold, what the hell did you expect? It's like you shot yourself in the head. Forget the foot. You shot yourself in the head. First of all, you went to talk to somebody who gave you this advice, and somehow you felt in your mind that that was a good idea. To go take basically put the barrel right in your mouth and shoot your damn brains out all on your own. What the hell did you expect? Think about it. That move served no purpose. What a dumbass move. But that shows you right there the psyche of a man that has been force fed. Well, a guy that has been force fed red pilled. That's where you're at. That's why I always say people that think that understand the red pill, no. The red pill is simply, I'll break it down right now for you. It literally just is a wake up pill. Meaning, you know that scene where Neo wakes up from the tubes and he's all connected and shit and life support? That's the red pill. Right? All of a sudden you're throwing up that big, the one that's right down your gullet. You wake up in shock, right? You know where you've been there for years, but now you're looking around at how come I didn't see all this shit before? How come I didn't know this all before? So you're in shock, right? And just like Neo, you never used your muscles, all that shit. You see, watch the movie, right? That's what it is. That doesn't mean you know anything. Matter of fact, you don't know anything. You have to now learn to basically walk and use your little muscles once again because you never used them before, right? That's what that is. That's what red pill really is, right? But now you got all these damn gurus thinking, you took the red pill and now you know. No, you don't know nothing. That just means you woke up. Not the woke go broke, but it means you are now aware you didn't know shit. And furthermore, you ain't shit, which is the worst pill to take, right? But anyway, let's continue.
oh, yeah, I really wanted to tell you guys that story just to give you an idea of how my grievance period was and what you shouldn't do. So here's what you should actually do. Do not contact them. Get them off of your social media and get rid of any photos that you have with them. This is the first step that you really need to take because
Good
anytime
move.
something makes you remember the times you've had with them and just them in general, it's going to bring up so much pain in you. And while I said you need to
While that is a good move, it's just like the no contact. If you don't know why that works, like he's going off as a victim, which is why it doesn't work, because it's not legit. And this is what I mean by legit. He's going off at don't do this because it's to protect you. So what you're doing is putting up a wall of shit you can't handle, which makes you weaker, believe it or not. Right now, yes, it helps you to not fuck up, but it's still ultimately you're weak because you're putting up a wall of shit you don't want to see. Understand that. That's why it's not legit. That's what I mean about legit. Right now, put it this way: I'll give you the cure because I think this video is going pretty good. So check this out. This is what you really must do. One thing is to put up a wall, right, of shit you can't handle, and another thing is putting up a wall over here because you don't want this to see this shit. That is what makes it legit. So, decipher that right there. Also, for you, right, in TV land, what's the difference? A wall of shit you don't want to see, or a wall of shit you don't want your two or another two to see. That's what makes it legit. That little simple tweak, right? But again, Once you decide, yeah, that's next level stuff, right? But I'm going off. Let's continue. Let's continue.
Feel that pain and accept that pain. There's going to be plenty of pain without you even looking at that stuff. And do not try to contact them. Don't try to become friends with them afterwards. That's 99% of the time that's not gonna work. For you and your ex to immediately become friends after a breakup it's just so rare. For me, this period lasted about 3 months.
The only way you can become friends with your ex, right, is if you care less for her. That's the only way. Meaning she ain't no longer, you see this here, right? Little radar right there. That basically means she ain't no longer in your radar. That's the only way it works. Meaning you can care less for this girl. Right? Now it could have been whatever, right? I could give you a clear example. Let's say she's smelled a little weird, but that's again next level stuff. And you accept that, well, that's not for me. So now you can be my friend because, well, once again, I just, you're not in my radar. Sad but true. Right, but there you go.
Months, I think. And then it was time for stage two, which was acceptance. During this time, right before I got to acceptance, I was doing a lot of journaling. I actually have my journal here that, yeah, as you can see, it's full of everything I was feeling during this time. And I want to keep this journal forever. I really do recommend that you.
Yeah, he's writing all this stuff to remind himself never, never to do this shit again and destroy himself. That's what it's for, right? It's to remind himself of how pathetic he was and he never wants to be at that level again. That's why he keeps that book.
Journal what you're feeling, and I actually have a good journal practice for you guys to use. I suggest that you write a letter to your ex, but don't actually send it to them. Just write a letter what you would say to them.
Oh, this is good. I think I know what he's saying. So he write the letter, don't send it, and read it to yourself. Basically, read it to yourself as if it's not you, and think of it like you found this letter from some weak ass dude, right? And you are going third person, right? And you read it, and when you actually read it a couple times, and actually see it not through the eyes of the person that wrote it, which is yourself, but as a third person, so you can see just how pathetic, right, you actually are. And maybe you can catch yourself and not send it because you can see, right? If you think that you're shitty and pathetic, think about someone else that can care less for you at the moment. You can think even worse. Trust me. Anyway, let's continue. Let me see if that's what he's trying to say.
In that letter and how you feel about the breakup and how you want to move on from it. But I also think that just like writing down what you're feeling in this moment really allows you to process your thoughts and emotions and get a better idea as to why you feel the pain that you do. And that really helped me. It helped me to accept the fact that, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, it was close, but no cigar. Well, no, I guess not. His technique is just to see how hurt you are, which serves no purpose. See, and this is the point, and this is why I do these videos, right? You got to understand the difference between what he's doing, which is trying to cope with victimhood and acceptance of it, and I'm giving you the cure. There's a difference, right? He's trying to show you how, like he said, you write it down, and then that's how you can see when you read how hurt you really are, which serves no purpose. The point is you're hurt, period, and you're looking for the cure, which I just told you how, right? Read it. And once you read it a couple times, you realize how pathetic you sound. But I guess you can see, and this is what I talk about when you don't see it through the man's point of view, you can't catch how weak your words and your sentiment and your thoughts and what you actually are at that moment. You don't see it. You just don't see how weak you look, how shitty of a guy you actually are. You don't see it. You're in denial again. I kind of see it more of as like a sickness. It's something like, like when you can't breathe right from your nose when you're sick. Same thing, right? You're blocked. Your sinuses are blocked, so That's why you just don't see it. Even if you read it, you don't see it, right? But I suggest if you at least get that in your mind and maybe try what I'm saying, right? You might just catch it, right? The premise. So that's a tool for you.
Pain, but I know that one day I'm not going to feel this pain. And that is what is going to happen to you at this time because it was like
That is true. One of the biggest advices that, and usually it's always like older gentlemen, right, will give you is this: the only good news about the force-fed red pill, the only good news is you will never go through it again. Now, how you end up from it or the process is a whole different thing, but you will never go through it again. That's why it's the red pill, right? You take it, that's it. I mean, you ain't doing busting the Cyrus where you have a secret meeting with Mr. Smith and you're telling him to connect you back, take the blue pill, and erase your memories. And that's not an option. You will never go through it again. That's the only good news you actually have. So there you go.
months after my breakup, I thought, how could I possibly still be in the pain I am every time I see her name or hear something about her or see a photo of her? But I'm telling you right now, time is the thing that is going to heal you. And the reason it
Yeah.
took me so long is because of the way that I handled my breakup the couple months after it happened. So hopefully you guys are able to avoid that. And maybe you'll get to this acceptance period quicker than I was able to. I know you don't want to hear this, but it's something that I
Yep.
wish that I took into my heart more.
The best the best thing that you can do is go cold turkey. And by cold turkey, I mean anything. If you train yourself, and it's just the exact same thing. Now, this is gonna suck, but the same thing. It's like alcoholism, right? It's like you drink alcohol and stuff, and one day you just stop because you had the nuts and the willpower to do it. Same thing. Food, same thing. Women, same thing. Video, right? Like addictions, anything. If you can train yourself to have the ability to go cold turkey, you can apply it in anything, literally, right? But it's not the stuff that you're doing, but the actual act of cold turkey training, right? Which I'll do a video on the cold turkey technique. But anyways, let's continue.
Or even though I had heard it at the time, I just didn't want to believe it. You need to accept the fact that you might never, or you probably will never, be with this person again. And that might have struck.
That's not true if you learn what I'm telling you. A real man, remember, a real man can have anything if he's willing to sacrifice. Now remember, it's not paying, it's doing the work, right? Or the actual willing, that's the key word, willing to sacrifice, which means you're willing to do the cold turkey, not for whatever the reason is, right? But are you willing and can you go cold turkey? Because believe it or not, just the attempt is basically going cold turkey, right? But there you go, another quick example from the space lucha. So let's continue.
Struck pain in your heart. I know it's hard to come to that realization and come to that acceptance, and maybe it'll hurt even a little bit more right now, but it will definitely help in the long run if you keep this mindset throughout the grieving that you're going through with your breakup. You need to live your life as if you will never be with this person again. This is only one person in 7 billion people in the world.
Yep.
Yes, they might have meant everything to you, but I promise you, if it was meant to be, if that relationship was truly meant to.
All right, this is where I'm gonna stop. This is where it's gonna get sentimental. If it was meant to be, then no. Because now you're resembling the two. It's not about if you were meant to be, or what was this meant to happen, right? But rather, it's more of a process, right? You got it, like the evolution thing of the monkey, and then it's a process. Only it's a baby, right? And then a kid, teenager, old ass teenager, and you never cross the line to becoming a man. That's what it really is. It's just a process, A to B, right in the middle. Somehow, you never became a man. and all this stuff happens to you, right? Now, there's no more handbooks on how to become a man, right? There's no how to on how to become a man. There's how to's on all sorts of shit, but what I've seen out there in the internet is there is no how to becoming a man. That's where I come into play. And I'm going to show you that that is the key to literally every single problem you've ever had in life, period. That should be your goal, to become the one who is, in turn, the man, right? Because you're a master of yourself, which makes you a master of, spoiler alert, the matrix, right? Which is one big ass system where you happen to reside or live or exist or however you want to see it, right? But that is what it is. Now, as you can see, he did this big ass video to in the end say exactly what a woman would say if it was meant to be, right? That's why it never works. You must understand the difference between the if it was meant to be speech to it didn't happen because I wasn't good enough. But guess what? If I get good enough, then I can have exactly what I want. And that's the difference, right? So there you go. I'll leave you with that. Um, this is the force fed red pill video example, right? There you go. That's what it is. And remember, for all you asking, what's the red pill? It literally just the pill that wakes you up. That's it. You took a pill, you went down the rabbit hole, woke up. Now you need to go through all the process of training, getting better, learning to walk, right? Learning to breathe. Hell, you remember the scene where Neo couldn't even see because he never used his eyes. Perfect analogy and example. You never actually saw the truth. You were living a lie, and you saw the shit through like the little pink and flowers and tutti frutti and everybody's all that shit wasn't real. You were in the matrix. You were deceived. So when you take the red pill, you wake up to the truth that you don't know shit, and you're in shock. Now it's up to you, right, to take the route. You can take the route from from the better bachelor to the manosphere to the what is it, the black pillars and no pillars, white pillars, all that shit, and no fab. All, you can take that route, or I offer to you the man's point of view, which is, believe it or not, the way, the actual cure, and the truth of what you're looking for. So there you go, Space Lucha out, and maybe one day, together, right, we can actually figure out the big ass questions, because this ain't just about relationships, the big ass questions when it pertains about life and all that stuff, right? The secrets of the universe, right? That I've been talking about, right? The big ones, right? This is the way to get to that. But anyways, there you go. So if you like the video, give me a like, comment down below. If you have any questions, maybe you want me to analyze something, you can send it to my email. Share, right? And let's continue to grow. So there you go, and start making some better videos. Because as you can see, I finally figured this whole like my screen here, right? I have a few flaws, but I'm getting better. So there you go. That's the way it works, right? You get better with actually doing it. So there you go. Space Lucha out on this one. I'll see you on the next video of the man's point of view.